is about the African American culture.
I felt like that homeschooling was the best way to educate my children.
Well, it's a way of protesting.
I like homeschooling better.
We come from...
This is a school you can mess up.
I want each of my students to believe that they can achieve their dream.
We come from different walks of life. But we started in Africa. Started in Africa. Started in Africa. Place African in America. African in Europe.
We're no longer looking to the public school for uplift for the culture, but the lesser known history is that we've always been self-taught, and it was our self-agency and our self-determination that got us to the point where we were seeking education as a way of freedom.
So let's have a serious talk right now. Let's talk about how the public school system is not for your child. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about all the stories, that have come out about that I've reported on and that other various media outlets have reported on that are basically showing proof of why you should take your kid out of public school. Because now public schools seem to be a place where their job is to demean you. Okay? How are you an honor roll student and they got the nerve to try to suspend you for a part in your hair? What part of the game is that? And what part of rewarding somebody for good behavior that there's no such thing anymore? I guess it seems it's like, if you are black, they're trying any and every way to literally suck the life out of you. And that means lower your confidence as soon as they can. 7 years old, great. I'm sorry we couldn't hit him at 5, right? And that's how they feel. They want to demean your kids for everything that they can to lower their confidence. So that eventually when they end up robbing somebody or joining a gang, then they'll get them in prison and get them, working for Whole Foods, making their bread. You know what I'm saying? Where they want them anyway. And again, these schools, they have all these rules and regulations for a reason. Those rules and regulations aren't educating your kids. They're keeping your kids from being creative. They're keeping your kids from being innovative. They're keeping your kids from being free. So they come to public school thinking, okay, I'm coming to school today. I should be able to express myself. I should be able to have fun. But no, really, they're walking into a pre-prison before they get to the real prison. And trust me when I say I know what I'm talking about. Okay? His mother said that he was teary-eyed because he doesn't want to be suspended for a part in his head. And she told him, don't hold your head down. Continue to make these A's and B's because that part is nothing. And trust me when I say I know what I'm talking about. You know what you need to do? Okay? You need to take your kid, Rashad, cute little Rashad. His mother said that you need to take him out of public because school. He doesn't want to be suspended. That's what you need to do for a part in his head. And I told him, don't hold your head down. Else has to make these A's and B's because that part is other kids. But you know what, Mama? You know what you need to finally do it. You need to take your kid. You need to do it because cute little Rashad. You need to take him out of public school. That's what you need to do. And I don't know what else has to happen to him or to other kids that you have to read about for you to finally do it. But you need to do it because slowly but surely the confidence will be sucked out of him because of all these little things that are going to add up that are going to happen to him, all because he's black. And that's the truth, okay? We all know in public school, a lot of the times, like I said, they just don't care. They don't care. And unfortunately, their job is really not to educate you anymore. It's to indoctrinate you. And a lot of these public schools, they have interests in the private prisons. So they're directly doing certain things so that people can fall in line to go to prison. And if you don't know about the prison industrial complex, you need to Google that because that is real. That is alive and breathing right now, training people right now, getting them ready for prison life.
8-year-old Nissan Jones's favorite subject is art, but the fourth grader at West Middle Island Elementary School says while he was working on a self-portrait in art class on Monday, his teacher said something that made a very bad impression.
I didn't like how I drew my nose. And then I asked him, could you help me draw my nose? And then he drew my nose really big, and then I asked him, why'd you draw my nose really big? And then he said, because all African Americans have big noses.
Nissan says his art teacher, John Johnson, is white.
I was shocked.
Nissan's grandmother, Roberta Williams, says when he told her about the comment, she was outraged.
For it to be a white teacher, and my grandson's African American, and you told a kid that, okay, because of your color, you have a big nose. And I don't think that any child, regardless of what color they are, no teacher should be shaming a child about their color, the size of their nose, the texture of their hair, the color of their eyes. It shouldn't matter.
My mom and my grandma always talk about don't let anybody be racist.
Williams says when she called the school about the incident, the acting principal told her she talked to Johnson about it. Williams says Johnson called her yesterday, but she didn't get the apology she was hoping for.
He said, oh, I think your grandson misunderstood me, and no, I don't think he misunderstood you. Not at all.
The school superintendent issued a statement saying, quote, Longwood Central School District Central Administration is looking into the matter and trusts that any miscommunication or offense taken by the family from a staff member will be remedied through further communication.
We just want this teacher removed from the school. He shouldn't be teaching any kids.
Williams is demanding action because she says it's clear the incident has left a mark on her grandson.
I'm scared to go back to art class because I don't know what's going to happen.
In Middle Island, Virginia Huey, News 12, Long Island.
The district declined News 12's request to speak with that art teacher.
You need to take him out of public school.
He got hair.
That's what you need to do.
Wow.
And I don't know what else has to happen to him or to other kids that you have to read about for you to finally do it.
Can I braid it up?
You need to
Can I braid it up?
Because
is that okay?
Slowly but surely the confidence will be sucked out of him because of all these little things that are going to add up, that are going to happen to him, all because
she called
he's
me
black.
And told me that she had an issue up there
and that's the
about
truth.
my grandson
Okay?
being in a dress.
We all know.
And I'm trying to see what the issue
in
is
public
about
school,
that.
a lot of the times, like I said, they just don't care. They don't care, and unfortunately, their job is really not to educate you. It's to indoctrinate you. And excuse me, a lot of these public schools, they have interest in the private prisons.
I mean,
so they're directly doing certain things so that people can fall in line to go to prison. And if you don't know about the prison industrial complex, you need to go to that. Because that is real. That is alive and breathing right now.
For the second day, too. I don't
right
appreciate
now,
that.
getting them ready for prison.
And don't think this is going away. I'm going further with this.
It is about the...
No, I'm not done talking to you.
African American culture.
The next
I feel like that
time,
homeschooling was the best way to educate my children.
It's a way of protesting.
I like homeschooling better.
We come from...
This is a school you can mess up.
I want each of my students to believe that they can achieve their dreams.
I got an issue with you about that. I'm not playing with you.
Walks of life. But we started.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you feel that way. But you should have called me before you made the decision to put my grandson in a dress. No, I'm speaking to you.
Please do not talk to me in that tone with my children
I
around.
wouldn't be up here if you wouldn't have put my grandson in no dress.
Again,
Well, do what you got to
take it
do.
up with Miss
No,
Darren.
I'm taking it up with you.
Please lower your voice. You're in a classroom.
I'm
with
taking it up
children.
with you. Well, you shouldn't have put my grandson in no dress.
He's two.
This ain't over with, all right?
They're saying the story as well. There's this little boy going to school and he has alopecia. Now most people know people with alopecia lose their hair. They can't really grow it. Well, this supposedly Christian private school has a rule about long hair and expelled this boy because he won't cut his hair. Let me go roll the clip.
One of every 50 Americans lives with the autoimmune skin disease called alopecia. It makes your hair fall out, whether completely or in patches. Bruce Gordon tonight on a local case that has interrupted a young boy's schooling. He's in the newsroom with the story. So this is apparently all about school rules.
Yeah, and the violation of those rules in an effort to get a little boy a full head of hair. 8-year-old Zion Williams wasn't playing hooky today. He's been shut out of school since Wednesday because the principal at Shiloh Christian Academy, where Zion is a second grader, says his hair is too long.
One guy asked me, do you have your hair cut out? I said, no, I took my hat off. And then he said, I can't come in.
Zion has alopecia, a skin disease that makes his hair fall out. His treatments are sometimes painful, but they seem to be working.
He's getting shots in his head, and it's allowed him to grow hair. He's growing the hair now, and if they want us to cut it, then they'll be cutting the growth that's healthy, that's there already.
Do you like wearing your hair a little bit longer? Does it help kind of cover up some of the patches there?
Mm-hmm.
Feel like that makes you look a little better?
Yes.
Zion's mom even presented the school this doctor's note explaining the condition and asking that the youngster be exempt from the school's short hair only policy. She says it was rejected.
It's heartless that he would actually take him out of school because something so simple as a haircut.
The principal and pastor at Shiloh, Bishop Derek Williams, would not talk to us on camera. Can you tell me why the bishop can't talk to us?
I don't even know why y'all here, but just God bless y'all.
He did answer my phone call, noting Shiloh is a private school. If you don't like the rules, feel free to go elsewhere. But the bishop is now willing to accommodate Zion's medical needs. So he is allowed back in school starting Tuesday with his hair at the length that it is. It's an awful lot of hoopla over a haircut, huh?
Yeah.
Well, there are still some hard feelings among the grown-ups. Bishop Williams says with Zion's mom threatening a lawsuit, he won't deal with her anymore. The little boy's aunt will serve as go-between. The good news, the school year ends in about 5 weeks. Live in the newsroom, I'm Bruce Gordon, Fox 29 News.
Making it so hard for the little ones. Bruce, thank you.
You know, it's funny that it showed praise the Lord. Well, I can tell you this much about the Lord. The Lord wouldn't turn away a child that's trying to get his education. The Lord wouldn't suspend a child because a child has alopecia and won't cut their hair due to the fact that healthy hair is growing out. I think the Lord wouldn't do nothing like that. Yeah, you talking about praise the Lord. You upset because you talking about you got some rules. Who are you to make up some rules about somebody's hair? Then the response initially was, it's a private school. If you don't like it, don't come. But I thought you're supposed to be about the Lord. God wouldn't do that to nobody. Just throw somebody out. This is why a lot of people can't stand some churches these days. You're hypocrites. You're sitting up there, you never tell the truth to people. You want to collect everybody's tithes and offerings, but you don't want to offer the true thing that God said to offer his people. And one day God gonna deal with people like that for acting like you gonna care about the things of God, but yet you don't. You're sitting up there throwing children out of school. That boy need to learn there was no reason why that boy should have been thrown out of that school. None whatsoever. So I guess what, if somebody get in a wheelchair, you're gonna throw them out too? Rest assured, sir, something could happen to you. What they gonna do, throw you out of the church? And that's what they need to do to you since you want to act that way. Now he want to change his mind because the mother threatened the lawsuit. Well, I'm not gonna deal with her. What kind of man of God are you supposed to be? You can't deal with her? You started it. You were in the wrong. You get what I'm saying? I'm getting so sick and tired of the black church with this hypocrisy. Sitting up there, jackleg preaching, jumping over benches, just telling messages to make the women in there feel good. Some of them pimping these women and taking all their money. They ain't hardly got money for their light bill, but they're making sure they give you 10%. Sad. But if them women need their light bill paid, them women need some food, they can't come to the church. Oh, well, I'll pray for you. That's all you'll do. But you don't want to help all these women that's giving you all this money in this church. And then how dare you throw somebody out? And I bet you that same woman was not only paying fees to that school, but probably a member of that church and probably paying tithes too. Sad, man. But I need to do a video about the black church because I can really go in on the black church right about now. Because the black church is a joke. It is the biggest joke I ever seen. And they are not about doing the work of God. They're about collecting tithes.
And they all had
That's
dreadlocks.
Welcome to the Advised Show, Media with the Common Sense Approach. So that was a young man, 12 years old, going to a private Catholic school, and he was suspended for staring at a girl. Yes, suspended for staring. Let me roll the clip.
of a 12-year-old Catholic boy are a little peeved. Their son was suspended from school last year for staring at another student. It happened at St. Gabriel Consolidated School in Glendale.
The perception was that he intimidated her.
Kicked out of school for staring at another student? The parents would not let their child be filmed, so I asked the mother to show me the face her kid said he made. The school says that stare was intimidating. The parents took the school to court to get the suspension erased from the record, but they lost the case. In court documents, though, the school said the discipline is consistent with the handbook and the female student felt threatened. The Tolbert son even wrote an apology letter. It reads in part, "I never knew she was scared because she was laughing. I don't want to be suspended anymore. This will be my last time intimidating anyone." The parents say they didn't know about the incident or the apology letter until 3 days after it happened. The parents told me the same student who said she was a victim did something pretty bad herself.
So the same girl that accused my son of this act of perception of intimidation aggressively poured milk on someone else's lunch. When she did that, there was no repercussions for that academic penalty. She received nothing for that.
We tried to talk to the school. They sent us a statement saying, quote, Judge Patrick Dinkelacre listened to the plaintiff's arguments yesterday, rejected them, and dismissed the complaint against the school. We aren't going to comment any further on particular issues concerning our students.
Now, most people will say this is the most ridiculous story I've ever heard in my life. You're going to suspend someone for staring. Well, you know, this really isn't odd for a black person because, you know, we remember Emmett Till. Most of you who don't know about Emmett Till, he was allegedly staring and whistling at a white woman. And what did they do to him? He was a young boy. They beat him, killed him mercilessly just because he was looking and staring and whistling supposedly at a white woman. Recently, in 2015, we had another story of a black man who was stopped by a police officer for staring. We covered that on this channel, as you saw.
Without being in the cop car, right? You know how it is when the police pulling you over? You're like, I'm not doing nothing. Why is he, every move I make, why is he making it? I'm not doing nothing. Okay. Because I have a Michigan plate. Other than that, why was you trailing me?
Because you made direct eye contact with me and held on to it when I was passing you up Salem.
I made direct. I didn't even see you.
I'm not going to argue that anymore, sir. If you want to keep talking about it, I'll just take your license back and give you a citation for the violation. We can take it to court. I'm not going to.
And the cop said you were staring at me. See, no one in this country knows how it feels to be a black man or a black boy. Like I stated in the previous video, we get it from all angles. We get it from the savages within our community who's choosing to commit crimes. We got to fight through that. Then we got to deal with systematic racism, discrimination. And if we say something about anything, we're complaining. We're being victims all the time. But really, how could you even look at this story and say, this is just normal behavior, staring? The boy wrote an apology letter saying he's not going to intimidate anybody anymore. I mean, as a black man, I'm sick and tired of that. Every single time a black man look a certain way or a black boy, it's a problem. You know, you're intimidating me. He's threatening me. What is he thinking? What is he going to do? All this stuff and propaganda is put out by the people that's within the media or those who are raising their kids that way. But yet the ones that they aren't teaching that's going to do something to somebody is them little withdrawn ones in their group. And they go and do some heinous things that we see in the news all the time. But you never sit up there and put those stereotypes out there. See, this story is just wrong. Even if you're paying for a private school, and it's the thing, you can be sometime a great person, don't commit crimes, and still deal with racism. And I know what some of you going to say is, well, you were saying in the video yesterday about the savages within our community. Yeah, but I never said we was removed from racism. You could be a president, you could be a doctor, lawyer, you can be whatever, and still have to deal with racism. You could never commit crimes. You could pay your taxes. You could vote. You can do everything right, and they still will look at you that way because there are people who don't like us. There are people that feel that we shouldn't be in certain schools and stuff like that. That's why I highly support that we in the black community to get together and open up our own schools, that we won't have to deal with getting suspended for staring at somebody. I mean, come on, people do that all the time. People sometimes stare off into space. They're looking your direction, but they're not really staring at you. They're probably thinking about something else. And for this girl who supposedly say she felt threatened and intimidated, that sounds like something her parents said, because the boy said she was laughing. Then the same girl poured milk on somebody intentionally and nothing happened to her. It's just straight discrimination and racism. And any black person that got their kid in that school, you need to pull them out, because I'm sorry, I would not let my kid go to that school anymore. You suspending somebody for staring. I mean, that just don't make any sense. Out of all the things you could suspend a child for, that's it. That's why the American education system just sucks in a lot of ways. You're paying attention to the wrong things, but not trying to educate these kids. Hit me up in the comments, use your commentaries, subscribe.
A 6th grader at Lawton Childs Middle Academy was arrested and taken to a juvenile detention center, charged with disrupting a school function and resisting arrest without violence. It's a decision that's not sitting well with the student's mother, Dakira Talbot, who says her son is in gifted classes and has been bullied at the school before.
I'm upset, I'm angry, I'm hurt, more so for my son. My son never been through anything like this, and I feel like they should have handled this differently.
The February 4th incident started when a substitute teacher asked the 11-year-old boy to stand up for the pledge. He reportedly told the substitute teacher the flag was racist and the national anthem was offensive to black people. In a statement to the district, the substitute teacher reported telling the 11-year-old boy why, if it was so bad here, he did not go to another place to live. She said he then said, "They brought me here." And she said she told him, well, you can always go back, because she was from Cuba and the day she felt unwelcome here, she'd find somewhere else to live.
She was wrong. She was way out of place.
The substitute teacher then wrote she called the office because she, quote, didn't want to continue dealing with him. According to the arrest affidavit, the student was arrested because he refused to follow multiple commands, repeatedly called school leaders racist, and was disruptive. They said he threatened to get the school resource officer and principal fired and to beat the teacher, an accusation he says is just not true.
I want the charges dropped, and I want the school to be held accountable and the officer for what happened, because it shouldn't have been handled the way that it was handled.
Dakira Talbot says she and her son will now head to court on February 19th to fight these 2 misdemeanor charges. Reporting in Lakeland, I'm Stephanie Clay-Tor, Spectrum Bay News 9.
Why did you feel the need to snatch me out of my chair? Why couldn't have you just asked me to get up? I mean, I still would have said no, but it's better than snatching me out of the chair and forcing me to stand.
Still reeling, Stone Chaney and his family are banding together against what they say happened at the start of his 3rd day of 6th grade, when it was time to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
A teacher just comes up, puts her arms under my armpits and snatches me out of my chair. I say I don't stand for the pledge. She just glares at me and walks away. I just feel like my rights were violated. And she was the teacher consultant, the person who teaches other people not to put their hands on students. So who knows what other teachers she's taught her way of thinking.
A rough start to his first year at East Middle School got even worse when he says he returned the next morning to a substitute teacher driving the point home, ordering him to stand and telling him he would need a special note to be allowed to sit.
God said, don't worship anything other than me. Don't worship any idols. And pledging to a flag would kind of be like worshiping it. It's not if I have a reason or not, it's my right.
His parents demanded action at a school board meeting. Now both teachers have been placed on administrative leave.
One of the main issues that we are having a problem with is the fact that an adult felt the need to put their hands on my child.
Very proud of my son. Very proud. He's a national hero right now.
Farmington Public Schools superintendent showing inclusion for Stone in a statement saying the district fully supports the right of each student to participate or not in the daily pledge. At Farmington Public Schools, we expect every child and adult in our district to be treated with dignity and respect. At this time, the district cannot speculate about the outcome of the pending investigation. And although Stone's family is encouraged by the district's recent action, they're focusing now on the bigger picture.
I have 3 little brothers, so if we let it get away with me, who knows what happens to the rest of them. I hope it never happens to them. Nobody in East, nobody in Michigan, nobody all over the country.
After a 5th grade lesson on slavery, a lesson that forced an African-American student to the mock auction block so white students could bid on him. 10 Investigates' Paul Ager joins us with the school's response. Paul?
That's right, Andrea. The school says only one parent was upset by this lesson, but that parent was really upset. And the student says he was humiliated by it.
Remember the sock game? At 10 years old, Nico Burton loves his dog, but he's not so fond of social studies, where yesterday he got a painful lesson in American history.
I ended up being a slave.
Nico says his teacher at Gahanna's Chapelfield Elementary divided the class and made some students slaves and others their masters.
At first, I didn't really care, but after people were like bidding on people, it kind of made me a little mad and stuff.
Nico says it got worse when the so-called masters were told to feel the students playing slaves to see if they were worth buying.
They got to look at in your mouth and feel like your legs and stuff to see if you were strong or stuff.
And people were doing that to you?
Yeah.
He felt degraded. He was hurt. Kids picked on him later.
Nico's mom, Anika, says she's astonished.
I feel like that was totally inappropriate. It was racist and degrading.
Gahanna Jefferson School District officials declined to comment on camera, but a spokeswoman claims this was part of a state-required curriculum. She tells 10 Investigates it was a one-time lesson, and in a statement she wrote, "As soon as the concern was brought to our attention, school officials acted promptly to speak with the parent. Then, while we were at Nico's house, his principal called. We overheard his apology."
I apologize for that. Definitely, I make sure that type of lesson doesn't happen.
I'm just shocked nobody has ever said anything about it.
While the family says the apology is nice, Nico says he's still waiting to hear one from his teacher.
And it was kind of mean, and she should have said sorry.
And we contacted the State Board of Education to find out what the law requires. It does call for 5th graders to have exposure to diversity education, but the law does not mention anything about mock slave auctions.